Welcome. Bia here from RandomBouts. We're going to kill a little NMs today. The first one's going to be Leech King. Now what happened here is anyone that's played Final Fantasy XI, at least if they played it in the old school days, Argus was the NM. It was camped nonstop, and its neck that it dropped was amazing for probably 7 years of this game's life. And notoriously, botting programs were called, Mr. Argus was one of them, and they were all designed around that. Now this was kind of in conjunction with the Argus. This is the Leech King, and Leech King, they were correlated, like one would spawn and then the other one could spawn. You can see that it's up. There's almost no one. I think there's only one other person in zone, and they're a low level red. Oh, they left. There was a level 29 red mage, so I'm gonna run up and kill this with the thief because it should die rather fast. But this was always your consolation prize if you didn't get Argus, and sadly but surely he was up as typical, and no Argus for me at this moment. However, you get to see a drop, and actually it dropped the item that we were after. If you were hoping to get him, you were hoping to get the Bloodbead Earring, excuse me. And you can see we got a Carbuncle's Ruby, so now we can start the Summoner quest. Just kidding. Two of these characters have 99 Summoner, and one of them is 60 something. Alright, I'm going to pause the video, and I will see you in just a few minutes at the next NM. Okay, so we're here at our next NM. It's something that any red mage and black mage would know very, very well. Of course, every character that I have has this earring, but we're going to kill this thing anyway. There's a lot of NMs in this zone, so I'm going to try to swing through and see what all we can do. Basically, this is Moldavite Earring is what this is supposed to drop. I believe it was 5 magic. Oh, you can see it drop some cool things. I believe it was +5 to magic attack damage. It's been a while since I've looked at that earring, but I believe that's what it was. This zone is notorious for the Lord of Anenzanzo, I believe is how you say it, and basically he was then in the dropped Kraken Club. And for players that used to play back in the day, they'll know all about this weapon. It's a big deal. Probably not anymore, but there it is. This is what it does. Occasionally attacks 2 to 8 times. So what players would do is they would put it in their offhand and have a stronger weapon in their main hand to do weapon skill damage with, and it is super fun. I'm going to try to kill the placeholder if it's not up here, and then I'll hit something with that weapon just so you guys can get an idea of what that's like. But anyway, for the first multiple years of this game, this NM that spawns once a day named Lord of Anenzanzo would be a time spawn from this, and it was some huge window. I can't recall the exact, but some huge window of time, and maybe I think it was even more than a day. It had a possibility of with once a day, but it was even longer than that. And even then, it had a real low drop rate on this club. And since it was so fun to use and people wanted to make uses for it, it became one of the most expensive items. There's been many stolen, many terror stories from it. Here's an example of somebody hitting something with a Kraken Club. And this is without haste, but you'll start seeing that it'll just start swinging like crazy. And back in the day, this was unheard of. This isn't, you didn't swing this fast. And so, it was fun. And Dark Knights could make use of it with their abilities, and they could do a ton of damage with it. You can see I'm just a lowly monk, so I can't do much with it. I had a funny story about how I got mine. I got mine actually from Lord of Anenzanzo back in the day, and basically I had an old red mage that I would leave sitting right here, and it was just there while I was leveling Beast. I've said in some of the other videos I was one of the first 75 Beasts on the Gilgamesh server, which was hard to do back then. And I think these Japanese players thought I was AFK because that character had been there for 3 months or so. And my friends usually would come and help me if it spawned or whatnot. And I just let these JPs keep fighting and fighting and fighting and killing the placeholders, and I never moved. And all of a sudden, Lord of Anenzanzo popped, and they ran away. I was like, what's going on? So I started searching all my friends list looking for people to come help me, and nobody was really on except for like one guy who was a real nice guy, but no mages other than that red mage, and it was kind of tricky back then to fight him, so it was very nerve-wracking. And we kind of snuck in with Invis on, because right as I went to go engage in it, got 2 or 3 friends to come out. The Japanese showed back up with ooze, which is like one of these Torma right here. It's NM that dropped this, assault jerkin was what it dropped, and it was kind of a nothing. I don't know why you would want to go for that, but yeah, they came back with still getting that guard skill up, aren't I? They came back with that NM and started fighting it instead of claiming Lord of Anenzanzo. So we came in with Invis up and engaged in Lord, but right away our tank DC'd, and yeah, the real player was logging on, and it was like somebody borrowing that character, and oh, it was chaos. Long story short, I got the drop. So keep in mind, I was like a level 60 beast, level 75 bard with a cracking club, and yeah, it was kind of funny because what was I really gonna do with it? There is I think its name is Nagashima or something like that that spawns here. You have to kill the placeholders and whatnot, so I'll kill those and then run back away. But until something spawns, I will turn the video off. See ya in a minute. Alright, we have another NM up. This is Nagashima, I guess is how you say that. We're going to try to evoke him over here. I remember doing this Bard Thief White Mage back in the day. He used to be a little bit more difficult than he is now. We'll get a couple weapon skills off and kill him. Trying to pop ooze at the same time. He's got a pretty good amount of HP, though. You can see he's taking a bit of damage from me, but try to get some haste up and whatnot. I should have mentioned that I was talking about that cracking club. Well, they eventually, in order to stop a lot of gill selling techniques and things like that, they took a lot of these monsters that we're trying to kill right now and made rare EX versions of them, and then you had to do these special fights that were pretty limited as to how many times you could repeat them. You could use your, like these seals and stuff. Actually, I might have some in the inventory. Use things like these kindred seals to go do these fights. If you got, 99 of them, you could go do the 99 fight, or 30 of them. There was a couple 30 fights. And so it was limited. You had to farm basically these items and try to do that. Well, they put a really low drop rate on the cracking club and gave it its own little fight. And it took 60 of the Beastman seals, which only drop off of mobs that are of a certain level, and it's fairly low. Well, most of us were high level by then, so it became a real challenge, and it almost never dropped. I've probably personally done the BC, I don't know, maybe 40 times over the last years since they changed that. And the problem is that for things like Peacock Charm, that Argus we talked about earlier in the video, that had the exact same version. Like, you kill Argus, they give you a rare EX version, which means you can't sell it, but it's the exact stats that you were going for. Well, they didn't do that with Kraken Club. They released what they called Octave Club, and it has a hidden effect. Off the top of my head, I can't remember. It's something to do with multiples. Like, if you're a multiple of 2, then it'll occasionally attack twice instead of the randomly 2 to 8. I forget how it all worked, but there was some math involved, and of course at 75, I think it didn't attack at all because it was an odd number, and I don't remember all the exacts to it, but yeah, basically it was junk compared to the real Kraken Club. Now, before I get off of the whole Kraken Club thing, there's very limited use, like I started to say. One of the kind of fun things to do is if you're an Annihilator Ranger, or if you've got a strong weapon as a Ranger, have the Kraken Club. You stand, get your TP real quick with it, and then weapon skill with your gun, and it just blows things apart. But it's not very practical. If you're going to use a ranger for stuff, it's usually going to be for something that you know, you want to keep your distance from. So you know, having a ranger stand right up next to the mob is probably a bad idea. So even then, you can argue its uselessness. But I wanted to just say some of that stuff before I you know, logged this one off. Right now, I'm trying to see if I can get ooze, and there was another NM that spawned around here. It used to be up here, you know, just a little bit north of where you see my red dot. I believe it dropped a dagger, a card, which was never actually that good. Maybe it had some charisma on it for bards. I can't remember a lot about it, but that was one of the first NMs I remember killing with my friends. But yeah, so I was just trying to get a couple of those NMs on video, and I'm going to cut the video off now. Thank you. Alright, it appears we have hit the mother lode. Lord of Anenzanzo has popped, and I'm going to try to get over to him fairly quickly, even though there's not many people, and I think there might be only just this one mage in the zone. Let me search while we handle our ads here. Yeah, there's this white mage leveling his I don't know, his NPC. I don't know what he's doing, to be honest with you, but we are going to go in and take down Lord of Anenzanzo on this video. Pretty rare pop, to be honest, even with this time. They, as far as I know, they haven't changed his pop times, which you can check, you know, online to see what his actual pop conditions are, but they're a pain in the butt. Oh, by the way, there's two NMs that spawn in here. I just have been really lazy and don't care to spawn them. They don't drop anything that was ever useful. So I'm just gonna go in and try to get Lord here. My tactic here is I'm going to get a little bit of hate with the monk and then turn and let the thief get some TH on it. It would be really awesome to get something off of this guy for once. We'll see what happens. Gotta find something I can throw away, huh? I don't know what to throw away in here. I guess we're throwing away the E feed, huh? Alright, hold on. Let me pass some stuff before we do this. Alright, so you can see Lord. We're going to, you know, set up here just for a second. We can see that Lord is there. We will get some hate. Ooh, 10% with one hit. Water gut and all that was what used to get everybody. I'm going to turn on the monk for a second. Basically, the water gun stuff would wipe shadows so fast and hit for so much that it used to really tear people up. We got TH8 up. I mean, this thing is going to be so rare and very almost not useful. So we're going to go ahead. No, we got 9 up. Let's go ahead and just do some weapon skills and see what we can do here. Okay, and it freaking dropped. Well, there you have it, folks. Miracles happen. The Cubs win from time to time, and Octave Club dropped. So I'm going to put it on this other character. I have no idea why, but we're going to go ahead and do that and conclude this portion of the video. I'm so glad we got that on film because that's funny. I've never actually seen that drop. However, I have seen Kraken Club drop. Thank you for watching and have a good time.